Texas A&M University's Chemistry Building, building a foundation for science. The Department of Chemistry at Texas A&M University consistently ranks as one of the highest in the nation and has been propelled into this position in part by its exceptional resources and facilities that have developed over the lifetime of the university, but continue to be updated with modern and cutting-edge needs. The Chemistry Building is home to this department, and its development has ensured that the program has a strong foundation to sustain high-level educational and research goals. Construction of the original portion of the building began in 1928, with additional wings being added in 1932, 1959, 1972, and 1986. Prior to the construction of the Chemistry Building, the Department of Chemistry shared space with veterinary medicine in the former Chemistry and Veterinary Building. The Chemistry and Veterinary Building was constructed in 1902 for $31,000 and sat at the current site of the Cushing Library, just down the street from where the Chemistry Building was to be developed. The Chemistry and Veterinary Building was raised in 1929. Ground broke in 1928 at the corner of Ross Street and Ireland Street in College Station, Texas, to make way for the Chemistry Building at the Agricultural and Mechanical College of Texas. According to Dr. C.C. Hedges, a professor of chemistry, the construction of this building was a hope and a great need to advance the department for the past 20 years. Construction continued for the original wings of the main section of the Chemistry Building through 1932 in 2 phases, at a total cost of just over $400,000. The design for the building originated out of the office of the college architect, F. E. Gieske. However, the distinct design of the structure is credited to S.C. P. Vosper, a member of Gieske's design staff and a professor of architecture from 1929 to 1933. Vosper's design varied dramatically from those that had been developed in the office of the college architect before this time, mainly in the distinct use of color and ornate details on the interior and exterior of the buildings. While this building was the first work of collaboration between Gieske and Vosper, their partnership and the distinct building designs continued through 1934. Jointly, the 1929 and 1932 wings of the Chemistry Building are often considered to be the original portion of the building, though built in 2 separate phases. Both portions were designed structurally and stylistically by Gieske and Vosper, but feature slightly different details. The 1929 wing runs along Ross Street and is highlighted by the use of copper cladding on the exterior window aprons. The joint with the 1932 wing is fairly seamless, as the sandy stone brick veneer facade was continued and is only delineated by an entryway into the building. On the exterior facade of the 1932 wing, many of the large decorations were developed through the use of cast stonework, which is seen extensively in the arches adorning the 3 doors at the main entrance and the surround of the main entrance steps. The embellishment of the exterior uses materials that also include brightly colored ceramic tile that take the shape of many classic forms, including geometrical patterns, animal heads, the human face, skulls, bones, and fossils. Distinct to this building, bright yellow and blue tiles were used to display chemical symbols in an homage to the building's use. The ornamentation of the foyer of the building is also distinct to the style of S.C. P. Vosper, especially through the use of color and detail in the paint, ceramic tiles, and terrazzo flooring. Extremely unique details include the ornate light fixtures, bronze ceiling tiles, and leather-covered doors leading from the foyer into the large lecture hall, which is a main part of the building's structure. One of the structural centerpieces of the building is the Arthur E. Martell Lecture Hall, or Room 100, that was designed to seat up to 350 individuals. This lecture room was equipped with many modern conveniences that had not been afforded to other lecture halls at the time, including a convenient seating system, artificial ventilation cooling, and lighting the room to have no windows. Along with a large lecture hall, the building contained 17 recitation rooms, staff offices along the front of the building facing Ireland Street, 8 private laboratories, 10 laboratories for research and graduate work, and 4 small lab rooms for organic and agricultural work. The laboratory spaces were equipped with all the necessary apparatus to perform research experiments. Each lab had its own 30-gallon distilled water still and tank made of locked tin, which would sit above the room in the attic and feed a line into the laboratory space. In addition, $50,000 was spent on equipment for the laboratory spaces, including new desks throughout that contained lines and pipes for gas, steam, and compressed air. Each personal desk was wired with AC current, and each physical chemistry desk was wired with DC current. The ventilation system for the laboratory spaces in the entire building was operated through the hoods and was powered by 3-speed suction fans. The 1959 wing of the building extends off the southern portion of the unit completed in 1932, along what was formerly Nagle Street, and finishes the bottom part of the E-like shape, making the unit symmetrical in nature. The structure cost approximately $1 million to construct, with the design for the wing developed by P. G. Norton, the system architect, and executed by J. M. Odin, the general contractor on the build. Currently, the wing has space that has been designated mainly for research laboratories, with a few offices and a single classroom. On Monday, May 15, 1967, Texas A&M University, formerly known as Texas AMC, was approved for funding from the Coordinating Board of the Texas College and University System for renovation of the existing chemistry building. It was reported that members of the board had examined the building and could attest and report that the renovations to the chemistry building were needed very desperately. Special funds in the amount of just over $100,000 had been gathered by the university and approved for use on the renovation project, with the goal of providing more laboratory space. However, the project cost a total of over $1.2 million to complete. Currently, the wing is used exclusively for graduate research laboratories and facilities. A new 116,000 square foot addition for the chemistry building, at a cost of $15.5 million, was scheduled for completion in May of 1986. The location of this additional wing was on the corner of Ross Street and Spence Street, and it was devoted primarily to undergraduate studies with lecture and laboratory spaces. However, after contractor B.B. Anderson Construction Company defaulted on its building contract with Texas A&M University, the structure was not completed until Saturday, September 19, 1987, after construction was resumed by Avery Mays Construction Company. The first floor of the building mostly contains a series of classrooms, with a few administrative offices at one end of the floor. Of the area in the top 4 floors, approximately 40 to 50% was utilized for research, and the additional 50 to 60% for undergraduate instructional teaching laboratories. Furthermore, the $15.5 million budget for the construction included new laboratory equipment for the undergraduate instructional teaching laboratories, including much-needed fume hoods for organic chemistry students. While the main focus of the structure was facilities for undergraduate studies, an additional variety of facilities were also included. The basement of the building will house a machine shop, glassblowing shop, and cabinet shop. Additionally, chemical storerooms and service facilities will be incorporated, such as an electronics shop on the 3rd floor. Since the completion of the chemistry annex wing of the chemistry building made additional classroom and laboratory spaces available, movement of facilities into this structure allowed for additional spaces in the remainder of the chemistry building to be renovated. The remodeling project occurred in 3 phases, with each of the phases involving approximately 20 to 25,000 square feet at a total cost of $6.9 million, where a majority of the money went towards modernization of the laboratory facilities. The remodel completely demolished and gutted the internal areas with the exception of support columns, floors, and exterior walls to modernize the facilities, including the mechanical, plumbing, and electrical capabilities. Thank you for your time and attention.